Hi, welcome back. And today we have a wedding. Arunny is marrying the love of her life, Chan. For our wedding, an auspicious day in March had been agreed upon. When I woke that morning, it was in answer to a gentle humming in my stomach, a gurgle of anticipation that slowly simmered, filling me with a warm flush of joy. My body, out of happiness, was singing. I imagined myself to be like the Naga princess who was loved by the first Khmer prince. The prince had been exiled from his homeland, and during his travels he encountered the Naga princess and fell deeply in love with her. Rejoicing that his daughter had found his true love, the Naga princess's father, as a marriage gift, swallowed part of the ocean. When the last salty drop landed in the depth of his abdomen, the land of Cambodia remained in the place of the swallowed ocean waters. Thus I was born to a country formed because of love, and I was destined to love as were the Naga princess and the first Khmer prince. My lips smiled, touched by the very sentiment that love is the basis for the ground over which my feet were about to travel. When I walked to meet Chan, I would feel the Naga princess and the Khmer prince's love beneath my feet. Until the moment came, I was content to feel the fabric of my wedding clothes as it touched my skin. It felt different from my regular attire, or maybe it was me that was different. Perhaps it was the knowledge of who I was about to become. I closed my eyes and allowed for more memories and thoughts to flood my consciousness. I heard the voracious voices of my mother and my aunties as they excitedly applied a dusting of pink along my cheekbones and coated my lips the fullness in scarlet. There were so many hands brushing, painting, and polishing, I was not sure who they belonged to, but I recognized the gentle touch of my mother as she swept my hair upwards, gently pinning it in place. Around her fingertips, she twirled a few loose strands of hair before she paused to briefly fasten a gold-colored decorative hairpiece that sat like a princess's tiara on top of my head. Surrounded by all the women who loved me best, I was primped to perfection. Their hands had barely retreated from my makeup application before they resumed, peeling off my clothes and tossing each item one by one in a pile at my feet. Giggling, the vibrant hands had stripped and then dressed me with the same efficiency as they had done my makeup. All the while, my family's spirited chatter entered my ears, only to become lost to my thoughts. For all I could think about was Chan, and I wondered what he was doing. Was he shaving his face, careful to ensure there were no tiny whiskers, so that later in the evening when my cheek rested against his, it would melt into the silky smoothness of his skin? I wondered, what was he thinking? Was he as happy as I was? I knew he was, but my mind sometimes liked to challenge my sanity momentarily with hints of doubt. When the short pang ended, I could resume with fantasizing how handsome Chan would be, dressed in his traditional bridegroom attire. The eyes of my imagination had barely finished drinking in the vision of Chan in a long-sleeved gold shirt and sarong with gold sash, when the lively hands dressing me had completed their task. There was a feminine hush as my mother brought a mirror forward so I could admire my reflection. It took a moment for my brain to process it was me. I was the reflection staring wide eyed back at myself. I was the exquisite woman in the mirror. Arunny, my only daughter, my mother said in between her tears, "You're a vision." As the other women dressed, a part of me fell victim to my bridal vanity, as I could not resist stealing glances of myself, and my eyes became quite apt at locating the mirror in whose ever hand was holding it. I thought myself to look as beautiful as I felt. I could hardly wait for Chan's eyes to rest on me. The beating of my heart ceased when it heard the insistent banging of pots, which alerted me that Chan was coming. Quicker than a mouse, my feet scurried across the bamboo floor to a window where I could sneak a glimpse of the groom's procession. At first, I couldn't see Chan. But I was able to quickly identify his mother, his father, his three brothers, his two sisters, and other assorted family members. But it was not any of them my heart wanted. My eyes kept excitedly scanning the group until they rested on Chan. As if he sensed my presence, Chan turned his head, a smile on his lips as he embraced my gaze and held on to it until he was forced to pass the window from which I hid from everyone other than my love. He was even more handsome than I could have imagined. My uncle sung the first of many traditional songs to commemorate the day. I had heard all the songs before, but on that day it was different. That day it was all about me, Chan, and our families. For some reason, it had not seemed to be a reality until then. I had known this would happen. It was tradition, it was customary, and yet knowing something was different than actually feeling it when it was happening. I saw the day with my eyes, and I felt it with my heart and soul. The events from that morning, although in their infancy, took on a new meaning as Uncle sang the arrival of the groom. I observed the pleasure in my parents' expressions. They knew they had made a good match for me. I saw the joy in the faces of those who I did not know. When Chan and I had a rare moment alone later that day, he asked what part of the ceremony I had found particularly moving. I told him the whole day was special, but that I had felt my arms trembling when I had held the umbrella over my mother's head, symbolizing the reversal of the protective role of my parents. He agreed, then added, for him it was when he looked and saw the faces of all the villagers smiling and laughing in their conversations. I felt their love and their blessings, he said. Our wedding day elapsed with a speed I was unaccustomed to. There is something about a joyous experience such as that day when there is no concept of time, and then suddenly the day is over, like a favorite song. I wished I could hang on to every word and hear it again and again, because it made me feel alive and it left me wanting more. Now I play my wedding day over and over, like a favorite song, to remind me of sweeter days when my virginal heart knew hope and every dream was possible. When our wedding day was over, my life as a wife began, and I was to learn to live with the less joyous experiences when time creeps and the stars in the distance become too far to reach. Tomorrow we will visit grandmother, and the last time we heard from grandmother, she was racing across the Mekong River to escape from the communists and find safety in Thailand. Thank you for listening today.